Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's episode we're going to be getting our Beetle mount. Yes, today is the day we're going to be getting it, alright? It is episode 3 and we are going to go after the achievement Beetle Feed, which at the end of it you will have your Beetle mount. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? And let's get on to the first part of Beetle Feed. Okay, so the first part that we are after is the live plague scarab. Now what we need to do is we need to take part in an event that contains scarab outbreaks in the domain of Cormor. This event is found where my arrows are pointing to, which is the front line within Cormor, which is just below the allied encampment. I'll show you in game what to do. All you do is run around on your mount and kill scarabs, but I'll show you what I did and when I got the item, and then once that's done we'll move on to number 2. Okay, so now we move on to item number 2, which is plague scarab eggs. Now this one's slightly a bit more complicated and it's probably one of the hardest ones to actually get, or more to the point, it's a bit longer. It takes a longer while to get, and that's because it is part of a meta event. Now the meta event consists of 4 stages, which I will run through individually with you now, and then we will go on to a short bit about where I collected it and how I collected it. Okay, so the first part of the meta event is in an event called spare parts. Now I will show you this in game in a second, but for now pay attention to the 2 arrows I've put on the map. They are where you hand the spare parts in. How you collect the spare parts is go round the map and mostly on the front lines, kill the Inquisition characters and NPCs, and they have a chance of dropping the spare parts you need to complete this part of the event. I will show you in game and then we'll move on to stage 2. Okay, so the second part of the meta event is to secure inquest cannons. Now there's 2 of them. I can't remember where one of them is, and I sincerely apologize for that, but I can direct you to one of them at least, and that is exactly where this arrow is pointing to. But if you're coming to the end of the spare parts event and you hand in your spare parts, the last ones that you've got, to the location at the top of the hill where this arrow is, the event that continues on into the defending the turrets one actually starts from this point. So if you follow the NPCs from this point, you won't get lost. and I'll show you this in game, and then we'll move on to stage 3. Okay, so stage 3 of the meta event is to actually storm the Moon Fortress. Now, as you can see on the map, I've made a point of putting down an arrow at a particular location in the allied encampment. Now, if after you've completed the second part of the meta event, you take the waypoint back to the allied encampment, walk around and go up behind where the building is and towards where my arrow's pointing, you'll find a purple portal. It looks like a mesmer portal on the floor, and this will take you directly to the bridge as to where the third part of the meta event takes place and starts. Okay, if not, what you have to do is run all the way around and come up to this bridge where my arrow's pointing now, and then you storm across the bridge. Take 2 locations, one at the bottom of the stairs and one at the top of the stairs, and make your way into the actual fortress itself. Then ensues a boss fight, and once the boss fight is done, then rolls up number 4 stage. I'll show you in game, and then we'll go to number 4. Okay, so while the boss fight goes on, I'll explain a little bit about number 4. Stage 4, when this guy dies, happens directly after. What happens is you've got to go into the buildings that layer the right hand side and the left hand side. Now, as you can see, the stairs that I'm facing, when you come down them, if you go to the left, which in this screen here would be the right, there's a little house or shelter. There's a door. Okay, if you go to that door and go in that door, on the left hand side is a little tub, and it looks to actually have a scarab contained within it. You need to at least hit that icon, or at least something that looks like it in any of the other rooms during phase 4, otherwise you will not receive the item required. I had to do this event twice in order to get this, so I'm hoping that this part right here will actually help you guys more. So now the boss is dead, I'll show you what I mean by being inside the door, and I'll just quickly cut over. Here you go, and this is the item that I'm on about, the little tube that I'm hitting here. Now, this footage here is from the second part. This is actually where I collected the item myself. The boss fight that I showed you was from the first one where I didn't. Okay, it's just to clarify that. What I will say is at this stage, they've obviously got the boss still out there. As you can see, they're still having a little fight. But I have actually tagged that little container already. Now in stage 4, when it rolls into stage 4, it will actually count anyway. Okay, but I still go into this little room, look in the left hand side, and there's that little scarab there, and I want to keep making sure that I get this item. So I make sure that I keep it continuing to hit it with abilities, regardless of whether the abilities are doing a lot of damage or not, and they're pretty much not. But it's all about getting the item. So I'm hoping that this stage here and what I'm showing you here will actually help you. Okay, so I'll leave you to continue watching the rest of this, and then we'll move on to the next item. Okay, so the third item is Jandu Ichor. Now this is dropped from Jandu worms. Now they are found in the Desolation, which is part of the Crystal Forest. Sorry, the Crystal Desert. Me and words. What you need to do, guys, is come here, kill the worms, and collect your item. I'll show you in game, and then we will move on to the next one. Okay, so on to number 4, the Hearty Beetle Slime. Now what we have to do is we need to go to the Silver Wastes and then go to the far Silver Wastes. And where the arrow is pointing to is the little ledge in which the Alpha Beetle spawns. It spawns quite regularly. It is a alpha event, so just be wary of that basically. And I'll show you in game, and then we'll move on. Okay, so on to the fifth item, which is Desert Luciferian. Now, what we need to do is we need to purchase this from the heart vendor, which is the Helic in the domain of Cornea. Now, I'll put an arrow to this particular heart. What I will say is the reason that I've put these 5 hearts that are all circled is they are the locations of the hearts that you will need to complete, and they will help with this event. What you need to do is complete the 5 hearts, talk to each individual heart vendor, and collect 5 shards off of them for karma points. Once you've got these, that's an automatic 25. You need 50 of these shards in order to buy the item from the Helic. Once you've got the 50 shards and bought the item, we can move on to the next one. Another way in which you can collect these shards is to complete the meta event. That will give you more shards, and also dotted around the Cornea map are stashes of Cornea goods. If you find them, they're generally like little rock packages that you can open, and they will always have one in as well, so keep your eyes open for them. And we'll move on to the next item. Okay, so the next item we're going for is Frigid Worm Goo. Now, this is harvested from cave worms in the domain of Cornea. Now, what you need to do is go to the Arik farmlands, and just up to the left-hand corner is a giant wall. Now, I will show you in game in a minute how I got up this wall, but word of advice, if you don't have a Springer mount, go and get one first, because you're gonna need it. It's either the Springer or the Jackal. Now, the Jackal, you'll need it to be leveled up to level 3 so that it can go through sand portals, and the Springer you could actually do without it being leveled up, but having the high jump leveled up on it would be advantageous. I'll show you how I got it in game and how I got up this wall, and then we'll move on to the final item, which is Toxic Spider Yoke. Okay, so our last item that we need to collect is the Toxic Spider Yolk. And this can be found on the Toxic Spider Queen in Keswick's Hills. Now, she is an event boss, just be aware of that. And where she spawns is where the event yellow circle is on this Keswick's Hills map that I've got in front of you now. Now, I will cut to gameplay, show you how I got it and how easy it was to kill her. And then we will go and give Petey his dinner and collect our Beetle mount. Okay, so here we are back in the Allied encampment, and I am just about to go and speak to Petey himself. Petey is the Beetle, by the way, and we are going to give him his dinner now that we've collected all these items for him, and then we will own him. He will be ours, and we'll be able to ride him forever and ever and ever. Feed Petey his meal. There we go. That's the last bit to do. And here we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you out a lot, and I hope that you've enjoyed the previous 2 videos that we've had as well, whereby I've helped you with all 3 achievements. I hope that you found them helpful, and I hope that you enjoy your roller Beetle mount. Until next time, guys, don't forget, like, subscribe and share and all that good jazz, and I will see you next time. Peace and happy gaming.